This video is titled the 20th of May 2026 under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here, spoken by me, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Tall people stay activated easier. Short people stay neutral easier. Now here's the thing, just picture where you're looking in life. If you're taller than average, you're almost always looking down a little bit. Again, for reference, me, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, I'm about 6 foot 2 inches tall, maybe slightly above, maybe. It's just that I got out of a lot of chronic patterning and I just stand well, my body works well, and I haven't actually measured my height for quite some time, and I definitely am taller. Guaranteed. I mean, just the position my body's in than the last time I measured my height. That's why I say that, and I'm giving context because of what I'm discussing, the anatomy and the mechanical functioning of the human being. In The Image Clothing Company, allowing the body to work, being our slogan, right? So here's the thing. When you're tall, above average height, right, you're generally looking down a little bit at just about everything in life. Other people, I mean physically looking down. I don't mean you're looking down on people, you know, like the way you could word it like that. But you just actually have to look down because you're just taller than a lot of things that are just there in life. And you basically never are looking up as a tall person. It's very rare. A taller than average person, there's not much to look up at in life because you're already above most things that are there, you know. Things we design as human beings in our modern man-made world is what I'm saying. And then just about every other human who's shorter than you, your actual visual gaze, right? The actual physical positioning of your head pivoting on top of your cervical spine, the top of your spine, top of your neck here, comes up into the base of the skull. And this actual rotation of the head, well, there's a video's title under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here titled The Neutral Head Position. And also, there's a video titled Looking Down Opposes Bad Posture. And it's got to be seen with context, but tilting the head, the whole skull is positioned down like this. Meaning tilting it into a neutral position where the jaw's neutral and the whole head's neutral, and then we get to that natural head position, right? Natural, neutral, and normal, the synonyms within how the human being functions. And its neutral positions is how it would naturally work, and that's how it would normally be because God designed the body to work, right? If we don't alter it, the body works. Look at the babies into the toddler age, and then as we get older, it's not about age, it's about more time to get within imbalanced patterning in the body. That's really what it is, truly. And we discuss it, right? There's no opinion to it. I mean, sure, the body could, you know, kind of deteriorate over time, but as far as its physical positioning, it's patterning, right? If it changes, because the shape and length of the bones never change. So here's the thing. And the vertical pull to gravity that meshes with the shape and length of our bones at the center line of our spine, right? So what I'm saying is, yeah, a lot of beautiful things, because this is a permanent documentation. This is what makes us credible and last for literally ever, as In The Image Clothing Company, is documentations like this, right? So the 20th of May, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here, tall people stay activated easier, short people stay neutral easier, okay? Now, what I was saying is, when you're taller than average, you are kind of looking down, physically, tilting your skull down on top of your spine, where the spine comes up and meets the skull to support it, right? The spine's the vertical support above the hips for the body, the only bones that support the body above the hips, vertically stacked like that. And it's in the center line of the body. And then below the hips, we split off and we've got a leg on either side of the body. That's why it's so important to have those feet evenly gripping arches opposing the center line of the body, because they have to be directly beneath the top of the hips, just to mesh with Earth's vertical gravity pull, or the feet can't work proper, and then compensation travels through the rest of the body. And that's why it's hard as a short person to stay activated. That's what I mean. Because if you've got moments when your legs are hanging off the ground just sitting in a regular chair, you can't even activate your feet to try to do what you can to ensure that they stay under you, supporting your body. They might stay neutrally hanging under you with gravity, but you can't grip the ground with them to support the body the way you can as a tall person. But that's why it's harder to stay neutral as a tall person. That's what I'm saying, because you want to keep your foot directly beneath your hip, even bent at the knee between the foot and hip, sitting down, like on a chair. Well, yeah, if you're taller than the chair, your leg can move in or out, you know, adduction or abduction, and it can be hard to keep your foot directly beneath your hips. Just messing with Earth's vertical gravity pull. And so that's why it's harder to stay neutral as a tall person, right? Just kind of revisiting what I said with more context. These videos just will flow how they do. It's just about documenting the information, you know, and date marking it to show congruency and longevity, and it's our insurance policy to a degree under In the Image Clothing Company. Today's the 20th of May, 2026. Tall people stay activated easier. Short people stay neutral easier. In the body's physical mechanics, okay? So when you are tall, you're looking down a little bit on things, physically, tilting your head down. And this can actually help you have better posture in ways, if you want to call it posture, meaning it can help you have a straighter spine. Because to have a straight, neutral spine, again, we've just got these even mathematical bends opposing Earth's vertical gravity pull. Ankles backward, knees forward, hips backward, low back forward, mid back backward, upper back forward, the neck, right, the cervical spine. But to keep this all nice and neutral, we almost tilt the head down a little bit. That's kind of how it is. Because we gaze down at the horizon like this to have a neutral head position. But, you know, you barely ever look up as a tall person. And so, a lot of times the range of motion isn't being used that much when you're tall, and it's hard to stay neutral at the head because you're actually looking down. So it's kind of a paradox. I just said it can be easier to have a neutral spine being tall, and it can, but also doing things like on a countertop, you're looking down excessively, so it's harder to stay in a neutral position at the head as a tall person, but it's easier to stay activated because you have to activate musculature to keep your body working. No joke. I mean, this is what I'm saying, because as you're looking down so much, just being taller than most average height things like a counter, you know, quite a bit taller as a taller person than average, you have to activate more musculature, and so your body stays working and it stays activated, but it's harder for it to stay neutral. So that's the tall end of things, right? The first half of the discussion for this, you know, just like looking at things at eye level in daily life. For this video's title, the 20th of May, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main side. Tall people stay activated easier, but the other half, short people, stay neutral easier. Just gazing at the eye level in daily life as a shorter than average height human being, living in the same modern man-made world with the same height, you know, one size fits most idea of products, right? But really it's one size fits the really tall guy for activation, but for the shorter people, one size fits the shorter person to stay more neutral, if you will, if you can see what I mean by this. Because if you're shorter, you can look around at things and you're looking basically straight ahead, and then you can look up at things because you're just shorter than some things in life, but you can look down at things because you're always going to look down, and you're looking at the ground, you're looking at a countertop or a tabletop. It's always going to be lower than, well, most everyone's eye level, right? I mean, sure, you might be really, really short. Cool. Yeah, maybe. But, okay, so let's not even say counter or tabletop, just to make this really as it is. You're always at least going to be looking at the ground, you know, to tie your shoe, to pick something up, no matter how tall or short you are. But a lot of times it's only the shorter people, short end of average, that ever really get to look up that much. And that's range of motion in your neck is my point. You're looking up and you go like this. And so it's easier to stay neutral when you're shorter. When it comes to just looking around at things in life, whoa, you just sunk into like a snake hole or something. There's all sorts of animals here, right? The Mojave Desert. I mean, you walk around and you fall in a sinkhole. It's just an animal's burrow. In St. George, Utah. What I'm saying is, that's where we're based, as in the Image Clothing Company. Well, this is. But staying neutral as a shorter person, because you can look up and you can look down. Staying activated as a taller person, because you're almost always looking down, and you have to activate muscles to keep your head up. Right? So we can see this like this, the height difference of people when it comes to their gaze, their actual eye level. A taller man as a husband with a shorter woman as the wife, the shorter woman can stay neutral easier. She's looking up at her husband and she's looking down at things in life. And there's a neutral between this up and down look. So she's neutral, but that doesn't necessarily mean her muscles are activated properly in her body. The other end, the taller man looking down at his wife, physically, right? Just because he's taller than her. He stays activated because he's got to keep his body up. So his musculature is always activated to just stand up when he's not quite neutral. So it's kind of like a give and take on either end of being tall or short.